It's time for Political Buzz, the television forum to discuss politics and issues of interest for all of Western New York. Now, from the WBBZ television studio at the Eastern Hills Mall, this is Political Buzz.
Hi, everybody. John DeShula with you here on WBBZ-TV, your hometown television station. Welcome to Political Buzz. You know, this is one of the great television shows here on your hometown station because we want to hear from you. We want to connect with what is important in your life, in your community. And it's been a blessing to have been able to host this show over the last year and change and talk with our regulars like Carl Palladino and Steve Pidgeon, but not just our regular contributors, special guests who have joined us throughout the year. And here, as we start 2014, we'll take a quick look back at some of the interesting people that we've met here on Political Buzz and look forward into what we want for this community for the new year. And one of the most amazing shows we did, and I don't know if you got a chance to see it, it's online on our YouTube page if you haven't, is when we filled our studio audience. We had a panel full of experts, and we talked about how painkillers kill. It was a very powerful and an emotional show, and I hope that it helped a lot of people get through some addiction problems. It's a campaign that WBBZ-TV has been supporting. We covered the Clarence debate over the school tax. You remember that? Went to vote and was defeated and then came back to vote and was accepted. We acknowledged and talked about that right here on our show. So Political Buzz is where we want you in the new year to come together right here in our Eastern Hills Mall studio. We're right next to Macy's. Watch for our postings on Facebook. You can like us on Facebook. You can follow us at WBBZ on Twitter and make sure that you connect with us as we move forward. All right, one of those interesting people we talked about for the new year was Lanny Davis. Lanny Davis wrote this book. It's called Crisis Tales. And if you don't know Lanny, Lanny was former counselor to President Clinton. He's a contributing columnist and a contributor for Fox News and has quite a respected opinion when it comes to politics. We're going to hear from Lanny, and we're going to hear from Shred and Reagan, radio personalities, and what they want for our new year. But first, we'll start off with Lanny and Crisis Tales. What would you do if you are stuck in a bad situation? Here's what Lanny had to say when he was in Western New York recently. Why did you write the book, and what would the average person who's watching this, who maybe runs a business, what would they take away from this book for their own life, for their own business?
The good news is that the truth matters, and that if you're in a personal crisis involving friend, spouse, companion, if you're in a business crisis where you think your reputation is threatening your entire business, whatever it is, the truth matters. And the sooner you can get the truth out, as painful as it is, the object is to get it behind you so you can move on with your life. And that's the lesson. Rather than preaching that lesson, I tell true stories, starting out with the telephone call with the person who's in trouble, and then I do a kind of a whodunit as I go through the story, what happened and how did I figure it out? How did I get it wrong? I write one chapter about myself where I made all the mistakes I tell people not to write. And the book is a teaching book, but not through teaching, through telling true stories. When you were with President Clinton, you were the counsel there for special counsel to President Clinton, 96 to 98. What was it like to arguably have to sit down with the most powerful man in the world and tell him what to say and how to say it, or what to do and how to do it? How did that work? Well, the truth is I didn't do that very much. As good as I think I can be sometimes, I'm an apprentice to the master of all masters. For me to give President Clinton advice on what to say and how to say it, he's the best I've ever seen in politics. There was a moment when I was about to leave where he was unable to be Bill Clinton, and that's when he had the episode with Miss Lewinsky. And I was unable to advise him on that subject because that's a subject involving human weakness, where his first priority had to be to make peace at home. And as I've written in many places, that's the one subject that's hard to do, crisis management, to tell somebody. You have to tell the truth to a wife, a friend, a companion who you've hurt. But that's the major issue, is contrition and telling the truth. But what I did for President Clinton was, on his behalf, I got a lot of nasty stories written ahead of time. So by the time the Republicans held hearings on national television in the summer of 1997, I would circulate the stories that had already been written on the subject of the hearing, and I would tell the reporters, old news, been there, done that. This is boring. And it worked. At one point, Senator Fred Thompson went on to become famous through Law and Order, but then was senator from Tennessee, the chairman of the proceedings, said to me, today we're going to discuss a topic that even Lanny Davis won't say is old news. Then I knew I'd succeeded.
And those issues with the president at that time were campaign financing and
yes,
financial issues?
Almost entirely about fundraising, sometimes not so beautiful to look at, but nothing to do with Ms. Lewinsky. I was on my way out the last 10 days when that story broke.
I would suspect a lot of politicians, unfortunately, would have liked to come to you, and maybe they did, when they had other incidents in their own personal life, and maybe you advise them the same way. It seems like of all the things, that's like here locally, there was a local politician who was brought down by a, a scandal, suspected scandal, Chris Lee. So so you just advise them to get their own personal house in order first?
First of all, the contrition has to be authentic. You can't make it up, not for a second. People know when you're saying, I'm sorry, but, and then the but takes over. And secondly, people who judge someone who's going through that kind of a crisis better beware, because I do believe in the expression, people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones there, but for the grace of God. It's very hard to be a crisis manager to advise somebody who's going through that, except to say, make peace with yourself, make peace at home. Everything else is secondary.
The book is Crisis Tales, 5 Rules for Coping with Crisis in Business, Politics, and Life. It's available everywhere. We encourage everybody to go pick it up.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Lanny Davis. Thank you. The great Lanny Davis, and we thank him and thank our friends at Hudson Rust for making him available to us last spring for a few moments to talk about the book. And some of the things he mentioned there are topics we're going to continue to talk about as we move into 2014, gun control and some of the issues surrounding the Obama administration right now with affordable health care. All of those things. Interesting that Lanny said that the president needs to get out in front. That was recorded just before all the Obamacare problems with the website, and I think maybe President Obama took some of that advice because he has been out in front of that. We'll see how that plays out as we move through the new year. Radio personalities Ted Shred and Tom Reagan. They're on 103.3 The Edge. Alternative music. They've been together for 20 years, probably together longer than most marriages, certainly longer than mine. And they, on their air every morning from 6 to 10 a.m., have lots of important topics to talk about. It's a music show, but it's also an information show, and they put an interesting spin on topics of interest in Western New York. And you're going to get a chance to meet them when Political Buzz returns. Hey everybody, welcome back to Political Buzz. John DeShula here with you. You know, back in November, we co-sponsored, WBBZ-TV co-sponsored the Food Bank Hunger Drive, Rich's Edge Out for Hunger. And Shred and Reagan from 103.3 FM, The Edge, were a part of that. And guys, thanks for being co-partners with that and doing what we needed to do for the community. But, you know, I wouldn't let you guys go without sitting you down and talking to you, because from my perspective, what you do on the radio is very much a contemporary talk show. You know, even though you're on a music station and you've been together a long time. I mean, you know, Tom, I'll start with you. How do you define your show? What's the Shred and Reagan show all about?
I don't know. I guess what we try to do is we take, whatever's popular and try to, put it through our prism and make fun of it or laugh about it, or, if there's a call to, call to arms for something, I guess, yell and scream about something, like red light cameras. When we were yelling and screaming about the possibility that we would get red light cameras. Those things, are kind of fun. As long as we can get, people to laugh when they're waking up at that god-awful hour, we consider that a success.
Well, and, this show's kind of political-based with issues, but you handle a lot of issues like the red light camera or, what Carl Palladino might be saying or what they're up to, and or the school board or the city, the mayor's race. I mean, you guys are very plugged in, but you make the news and the topics interesting for your audience.
I think sometimes it's kind of like how you would talk about things with your friends. When you get talking about subjects, sometimes you'll poke fun at it, sometimes you'll get passionate about it, and that's kind of, I think, how the show goes. Now,
you guys have been together since 1994. What is that relation?
It's been that long?
It's been that long. Wow. According, you have a Wikipedia page, which I guess you know that you're in when you're in Wikipedia.
Hey, you see these pictures, we'll see occasional pictures, and we'll just laugh. It's like, God, I can't believe you look like that, But
I had hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so did I. So, welcome to the club.
Yeah. But over the years, you can't work with somebody like this without, getting to know them, be really close. And so, we know each other's faults, likes and dislikes and everything like that. And but I think that helps because we really know how to, I think, play off of each other a little bit better. It gets progressively easier as it goes on over the years. Yeah,
well, it's sort of like in television, you see teams are on TV, whether they be anchor teams or hosts, and sometimes if there's no dynamic, it shows through and the audience picks up.
We wouldn't be sitting here right now. Yeah.
No, exactly. Yeah. And some of the bits that you do, I mean, some of them are, we can't describe here on WBBZ-TV. We're a hometown station. But Ted, you guys do push the limit a little bit.
From time to time, again, like I said, it's kind of like joking around with your friends, and sometimes you push things a little bit, and sometimes it gets a lot of buzz, and that gets you noticed too sometimes.
Right. But sometimes it's just like when you do the police blotter stuff. I mean, you're literally ripping and reading out of the paper or out of a police report. It's out there, yet it's so bizarre sometimes.
We don't make that up. I mean, there's a couple things that we've done recently. There's a popular feature called OTF. It's similar. It's outlining some of the crazy crimes that go on in 3 particular states, Ohio, Texas, and Florida, and we make a game out of it. You have to guess which state this happened, and there's some crazy, sick people out there.
Tom, you started, first of all, I should say that you started in talk radio. It was another station in town, but, is that your background? Were you kind of a news guy, a talk show guy, or were you a music guy drawn to radio?
No, well, I mean, I was hired up here to do it, but I was on a music show, but it was a morning show prior to, so there was always, but I always thought that was the fun part, mixing it up with somebody on the phone, taking phone calls, playing off people. That was always the fun part of radio for me, so that's why I'm kind of glad we're in that position, that we could do that. As long as it works, it's a good place to be.
And you're both not from Western New York, and I'm not from Western New York either. But it's when you're here for as long as a time as we've all been here, you really are a part of the community in ways that transcend what you ever thought you would do. When I came here, I thought, I'll be here for a couple of years and then go on back to Philadelphia. But how has that been for you guys to come from another place and stay as long? You've been adopted by the community.
I never thought I would be here this long. When I came here, I grew up in Chicago, and I came here, and I actually left after a couple years, and I thought that was the end, and they ended up bringing me back in '93, and I've been here ever since. Now, I've been here pretty much the majority of my adult life. So, this becomes home. I still have some roots back in Chicago, but, when you live, I've been 25 years in Western New York, so, I mean, that's a long time.
And you pull for the place. You live here long enough, and you're like, you see somebody, do something stupid to the community, or you want to yell and scream about something. You take it personally now. This is our city, so.
Absolutely.
And we've laid down roots, I mean, starting families here, so my kids go to school here. This is home now.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that before we started taping, because you're married now with children, and Tom, you're married. And, when we would hang out back in the day, you weren't married. You'd be out and you'd see each other out. So I think I got to believe that's brought something to your radio show, too. Your perspectives change.
Well, absolutely. As you get a little bit older, I mean, where we go out to drink on Friday night isn't as important as other things,
Right.
So, I mean, it definitely changes your life. Kids change your life.
Yeah.
Wives change your life. So.
For the better.
Yeah. It's all good.
Yeah. Tom, you talked about rooting for Western New York. We're going to air this show as we cross into the new year, 2014. What would you look forward? What would you like to see Western New York do moving forward into the new year?
This place, we all want to see a sports championship, right? I mean, we would, and we used to joke and say, if the town won a championship, there'd be riots in the street. I don't see that at all. I think it would be just like all of us walking around like zombies with a shocked look on our face. Like these horrible teams actually won a championship. I can't believe it. I don't think we'd destroy a single thing. I think we'd just walk around for hours in a daze.
Just be happy.
Yeah, just be happy, I think is what it would be.
Why is it so much that sports seems to just galvanize the whole community? In ways that, I heard another radio talk show talking about it the other day, talking about like Buffalo and Green Bay, cities like ours that you really do look to those sports teams to pull people together.
I don't know why, but it is a common bond. I mean, with so many options in life today, that weren't there years and years ago, the one thing that we all seem to kind of come together on is sports. Our hometown team, our Buffalo Bills, our Buffalo Sabres. And, we've had glory years way in the past. And you remember how good that felt and how much the community rose up for that. And we all want to do that again. And it's so heartbreaking. It's funny, from week to week, it seems like the mood can be so drastically different. Coming off a big win, You know, with a football game, everybody is high. We're talking about going to a playoff game or something, and then we lose, and it's like we got the worst team in the world. I don't know why we wear it so heavy on our sleeve, but we do.
Yeah, we do. Let's talk a little bit about, we talked about your length of time in radio. Let's talk a little bit about technology. I mean, just, you know, here at WBBZ, it's, you know, digital technology, and, you know, they laugh at me because I'm an old school guy, you know, where's the videotape? But, you know, the industry's changed so much. It's not only you guys on the air, but you're tweeting, you're Facebooking, you're sending videos up to YouTube. I mean,
we're streaming. You know, what's
streaming.
amazing is
You're
it
everywhere.
used to be on the radio. You had to be within a certain radius of the radio station to receive the signal. And now, you know, everybody streams online. People that moved away from Western New York, that we get contacted by them all the time. We get phone calls during a show from people in other states that are listening online. So it's really expanded the reach.
Do you ever think in your day and age that you would, you know, pick up your cell phone and there you would, you know, call up a video or call up your radio show wherever you are?
It's
in the
great.
world?
Although, you know, I mean, even cartoons told us we'd have video cameras or video phones at some point, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, we've been expecting it. Technology makes it better usually. A lot of people pine for old technology, but it generally makes things a lot clearer, a lot easier. Broadcasting, for example. You know, at one time you had to, you know, you had to set up like a mini radio station, probably a mini television station.
Yeah,
and now with
all
cell
the
phones and
technology.
cell towers and everything, you could broadcast off of that. So,
I'm still highly disappointed. I'm waiting for my flying car.
yeah.
Yeah, where are those? I saw where that's
They're
going to
coming.
happen.
They're going to be here.
Yeah.
But our dream is to be on a flatbed doing the show down the 90 at some point.
Okay.
And it's coming. As soon as I get the cell towers set up, we can actually be down the 90.
Just to drive up and down for no
Just for no apparent
Right.
reason.
Actually, I'll do it from my flying car, which is actually my phone. My phone will become the
Sure,
flying car.
sure.
Couple
We'll
of minutes-
crash, and that'll be the
couple
fireball
minutes-
that ends the show.
A couple of minutes left. What's the craziest thing you've done on the radio, Ted?
I don't know. That there's a lot of years of doing some silly, crazy stuff.
Yeah, when you look back on some of the stunts that you've pulled, some of them are pretty crazy, and some of the characters.
You know, I mean, some things that we did were like we did a charity event where we rode jet skis from Buffalo to Cleveland. I mean, it might not seem like the craziest thing, but physically taxing, that was kind of crazy.
Well, you're a pretty outdoorsy guy. I mean, you know, ride bikes.
I love that stuff.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean,
Tom, I can't see you doing that.
Well, but I went with
He
them.
did it.
I did it. We and it was, oh man, it was those last couple of miles to Cleveland where you thought you were going to die. If there was a Lake Ness monster, it was going to eat us then. But you know, I'm proud of things like you know, red light cameras, for example, where you can get involved, enough people involved. If you look at New York and the way it comes down the line, and New York City has them, and Syracuse has them, and Rochester, they stop here. Now, did people who listen to the show have something to do with yelling and screaming about that? I don't know, but you know, it stops here, and that's. Although now he's got something on those license plate readers.
Yeah, well, there's
so I don't know
always
if I
gonna be something.
necessarily still trust the administration, but you know, it's good to keep an eye on that sort of thing.
You're not a negative guy, are you, Tom?
No, I try not to be.
Yeah, I'm not
But I'm
paranoid
watching them.
anyway.
I'm watching them.
Yeah, we're watching you, either or.
You're not going to see much.
I will tell you one crazy thing, though, in a contest that we really didn't think it was going to be that crazy. It was called Lick It for Tickets. And one of the things was hot sauce. And we had gotten some extremely hot sauce, 357,000 Scoville units. I mean, just a little toothpick on the tongue was burning. These guys were lapping it up like dogs at a bowl of water.
Ooh.
And that was for Metallica tickets. And a couple people had to be taken away on an ambulance. But
Don't do that again.
that was, that's what our general manager said.
Yeah, guys that show up like me in a suit with white hair.
Yeah.
I'd say, guys, not so much. Let's talk a little bit about a mutual friend of ours who's passed, Tim Swatala. He was a producer of yours for a couple of years. He worked with me on Offbeat Cinema. How important is that connection with your producer and your management to kind of, have all that synchronicity going? Not just what you bring to the
It's
table.
hugely important. I mean, there's a lot. A good producer can make the world of difference. And we have one right now, Jim Jacka, and Josh Potter works with us, and Jim Kurtzel as well. These are guys who behind the scenes make the show what it is. I mean, they provide so much extra material, ideas, production, throw ideas around with us, and help shape the show. So having people like that, and Tim was one of those guys, again, very creative mind, constantly coming up with different ideas to knock it off the center a little bit, and that was important.
Yeah. Anything new for 2014?
No, we're going to win those championships for our sports teams. Let's see, we'll be #1 in the ratings once again.
All
hopefully.
good. Shred and Reagan from 103.3 FM The Edge. If you haven't listened, you got to listen. Thanks, guys, for all your support for all of our projects over the years. Good to know you guys, and you will get to know them too. Political Buzz will continue when we come back. Buffalo Urban League is an organization in Western New York that helps so many people here with adoptions, with getting through life, just getting through basic needs. The Urban League Gala was held recently. I took the WBBZ-TV camera there, got to catch up with my good friend Brenda McDuffie, who you met here on Political Buzz earlier in 2013. The Buffalo Urban League Gala, the major fundraiser. They honored so many people in the Western New York community, executives from local corporations that help out, and everyday people who really step up and make a difference and are hometown heroes. One of those individuals who I caught up with was Mayor Byron Brown, and he brought us up to date with what's happening here in Western New York and as we move forward into the new year. Let's talk about the Urban League, just one of those great institutions in Western New York.
A tremendous institution in Western New York that works with youth, that works with adoption issues, economic development issues, people that are in need in the community, does tremendous work and is part of the fabric of community in Buffalo and Western New York, and it's just absolutely wonderful to see such a tremendous turnout to support the Buffalo Urban League tonight.
And congratulations, the governor in town. Big announcement the other day. I got to tell you, it felt like Christmas.
It really did. It was a huge announcement. Two nationally recognized high-tech companies that are moving their businesses to a brownfield site in the city of Buffalo, investing $1.5 billion, the state investing $225 million, and initially creating 850 jobs in the city of Buffalo. Great day for Buffalo and Western New York. Governor Andrew Cuomo really has placed a lot of focus on Buffalo and Western New York, and that attention that the governor is paying to this community is paying great dividends for the people that live here. You know, my wish for the community is for everyone in Buffalo and Western New York to realize what a great community this is, to embrace the tremendous progress that we're seeing, and to work together to expand on that progress and to create more opportunities for every single family in Buffalo and Western New York.
We thank Mayor Byron Brown, and we hope to catch up with him as we move forward. Mayor Byron Brown, one of the major stories of the year in 2013. He was reelected for another term, mayor of the Queen City, mayor of the city of Buffalo. I want to thank you, all our viewers, for catching up with us here on Political Buzz every Thursday morning at 9 a.m., Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Thank our crew here at WBBZ-TV, Katie Burden, Tim Marcolini, Mark Ewart Jr., Mark Ewart Sr., Bob Kaczynski, Andy Smazinski, Joe Malucci. Who am I forgetting? Tim Batt, Patty Forbes, Diane Breen, Ed Bassler. I think I've covered just about everybody here at WBBZ-TV. And, of course, our owner, Phil Arno, for allowing us to put this television, not only for Phil putting the station on the air, but putting the show on the air on WBBZ-TV. Now, as we end our New Year's edition here of Political Buzz, we're going to end with some video that Phil shot over in Clarence on Strickler Road. An amazing house that's all lit up for the holiday season with some synchronized music. We'll end on that note, and we'll see you again here on your hometown television station.